The forest is alive, not just with sound, but with presence. Above, black and white colobus monkeys leap effortlessly between branches, their long tails tracing arcs through filtered sunlight. Somewhere deeper, chimpanzees call out, sharp, echoing cries that seem to bounce through the trees like signals from another world. The trail climbs steadily, rarely forgiving. Roots twist across the path, slick with moisture. Wooden bridges cross fast-moving streams, their waters rushing down from unseen heights. Each crossing is a reminder, everything here is in motion, water, vegetation, even the earth beneath your feet. As the hours pass, the rhythm settles in. Step, breathe, step. Sweat becomes constant. Clothing never quite dries. Yet there is something immersive about it, this deep green world that swallows distraction. By late afternoon, the forest begins to thin just enough to reveal glimpses beyond. The climb steepens, then suddenly relents. Perched along a ridge, Nyabitaba hut emerges from the trees. From here, the view stretches outward, rolling foothills fading into the distance, clouds drifting slowly across the valleys below. It is the first moment the mountain allows perspective, but the forest still surrounds you, pressing close, reminding you that this is only the beginning. Day 2, into the unknown terrain, Nyabitaba to John Matt Hut, 3,500 meters. Morning arrives not with silence, but with sound. Birds call from unseen perches. Insects hum, and the forest breathes as if it never truly rested. The trail begins with a descent, steep, slippery, and immediate. It drops sharply toward the Bujuku River, a powerful artery cutting through the mountain. Crossing it feels symbolic, like stepping from one phase of the journey into another. On the far side, the climb resumes, but something begins to change. The dense rainforest gives way gradually to bamboo forest. Tall, slender stalks rise in clustered silence, swaying gently. The light shifts here, softer, more diffused. The air feels cooler, but the effort intensifies. Then, almost without warning, the landscape transforms again. The heather zone emerges, strange, surreal, and almost prehistoric in appearance. Trees are draped in thick moss, hanging like ancient curtains. It feels less like hiking and more like crossing into another world. The ground tells its own story. Mud deepens. What begins as a nuisance becomes a constant obstacle. In places, it rises to the knees, swallowing boots with each step. Progress slows, not just from fatigue, but from the terrain itself resisting movement. Ahead, the Bujuku Valley begins to open. It stretches wide, framed by distant peaks that remain partially hidden by cloud. The scale becomes more apparent here. The mountain is no longer enclosing, it is expanding. Altitude begins to make its presence known. Breathing is heavier now. Steps are more deliberate. Conversations grow shorter. By the time John Matt Hut comes into view, Perched above the valley, the body feels the accumulation of effort, but the mind begins to grasp something else entirely. This mountain is not just climbed, it is endured, understood, and slowly revealed. Day 3, the otherworldly passage, John Mate to Bujuku Hut, 3,962 meters. If the previous days introduced the mountain, today defines it. The journey begins with a descent into one of the most iconic features of the Rwenzori, the Bigo Bog. At first, it appears deceptively simple, a flat expanse stretching across the valley floor, but step onto it, and its nature becomes clear. Wooden boardwalks snake across floating vegetation. Beneath them, water shifts and settles, unseen but ever present. Each step produces a subtle movement, a reminder that this ground is not entirely solid. It is slow going, careful, deliberate. The body adjusts to the rhythm of balance rather than speed. And yet, it is here that the landscape becomes truly extraordinary. Giant lobelias rise from the bog like sentinels, moss blankets everything, softening edges and muting colour. The sky feels closer, yet the horizon stretches further. There's a silence here, not empty, but full. A silence that absorbs sound rather than reflects it. Eventually, the valley narrows. The terrain begins to rise again. And then, almost suddenly, it appears. Lake Bujuku, still dark and perfectly set beneath towering peaks. Above it rise the great mountains of the range, Mount Stanley, Mount Speke, and Mount Baker. Their summits are often hidden behind clouds, revealed only in fragments, ice, rock, and shadow. The air is thinner here, movement slows naturally, even simple tasks require more effort. But it is not just the altitude that changes things. It is the realization that you are now deep within the mountain, surrounded, enclosed, and entirely committed to the journey ahead. Day 4, into the high mountain Bujuku to Elena Hut, 4,541 meters. The valley is left behind with a steady, unrelenting climb. Vegetation begins to disappear. The moss fades, the lobelias thin out. What remains is rock. Bare, angular, and exposed. The ground is firmer now, but no less demanding. Each step upward feels heavier. The air has changed. It is colder, sharper, less forgiving. Breathing requires intention. The trail narrows, weaving through boulders and steep inclines. Occasional patches of snow appear, clinging to shaded surfaces. Water trickles down rock faces, freezing in places where the sun does not reach. This is the threshold of the alpine zone. Elena Hut appears almost abruptly, perched against the slope beneath the looming mass of Mount Stanley. It is stark, functional, and exposed. There is no illusion of comfort here. Beyond it lies the glacier. The afternoon is quiet. Movements are slower, conversations minimal. Gear is checked and rechecked. crampons, harnesses, ropes. Everything must be precise, because above this point the mountain changes again, and the margin for error narrows. Day 5, the summit and the breaking point. Elena, hut to Margarita Peak, 5,109 meters, to Kitandara Hut, 4,023 meters.
This documentary has been filmed and documented by Blasio Biekwaso, wildlife photographer, conservationist, and a man whose life's work has been devoted to revealing the wonder of God's creation across Uganda's natural world. Thanks for watching. God bless you.